Hey everybody, I just want to start this video off with me in front of the camera. Usually it's just my hands and using the paper and what I'm drawing or in Photoshop. But I just want to show you guys who I am, what I look like, and I'm really excited about doing this more. I think currently everyone's kind of using Zoom and video so much more often that we're all getting a little bit more comfortable with being in front of the camera and talking to people through technology in this very visual way. And that capability has been there for a long time, but I feel like we were all just a little bit nervous about that. I know I was, and I just want to get more comfortable doing this, and so that's why I'm here. But let's jump into drawing, and I'm going to talk a little bit about just some personal thoughts on like fan art. I know that's a big topic, or it's a big thing, and I'm not. Yeah, I want to add some nuance to the conversation, if that is a conversation in anyone's life. If anyone has ever thought about having a conversation about fan art, instead of just like I like it or don't like it. Which is fine too. So, but I just want to add a little bit into the conversation of like thinking about what we're making as creators and artists. So let's do that. All right, this video is going to fly by really fast. If you'd like to see a longer version of me making this image while talking about the process of doing that, talking about character design, composition, and getting to a final image for this image. This will be in a longer form, explaining all those things on my $15 Patreon level. And I'll share the layered PSD files there, the layered Photoshop files, and it'll be, I'll definitely be trying to not leave anything out from how I started this image to how I finish it up, and that's there on my $15 Patreon. This video that you're watching now is sped up because I'm talking about fan art, talking about that, and I just wanted to give you something to watch while that's happening. This talk is based on a portion of the newsletter that I write for my $5 and up Patreon tier, and that happens. It's weekly. Every Friday, I'll write kind of what I'm working on, what I'm thinking about, what I'm seeing and reading and living. So a little personal stuff there, and also some. Yeah, what I'm seeing is like movies and documentaries and that kind of thing. What I'm reading, obviously books or a certain blog that I thought was really helpful as a creator. So let's jump into talking about fan art. Fan art is just kind of a thing that happens, and I don't know, what percentage of you all have feelings about it, and maybe this kind of analysis into something that is just basically has always been there, kind of, is maybe new. So bear with me as I try to like hammer out what I'm thinking about. But I think we can get into some interesting stuff. So as a creator, and I think that's specific to this conversation. And the thinking about it. So I'm a creator. I'm interested in not only drawing well, but writing well, and building both the writing and the art in order to put on a show for an audience, basically. Make a story that's visual and but obviously has a words and an outline, points and a plot. So that's where I'm coming from. And I think these people, what I would say are creators, are, let's say, George Lucas, J.R.R. Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, J.K. Rowling, just those are the big ones. And there's far more. All the Marvel stuff, Jack Kirby, Stan Lee. These people are creators, and they've created something, and then is something sort of original to them. I mean, they're basing their work and their ideas off of things that have existed before, so that even that could be kind of thought of as fan art or fan fiction. Tolkien's riffing on Norse mythology or something like that. C.S. Lewis is doing the same thing with Christian ideology, mythology, and the list just goes on and on. All those people I named, George Lucas, riffing on basically the hero's journey, but a lot of people could put in. I think the Kurosawa movie, Hidden Fortress, I think that might be it. I haven't seen that one, but people are like, watch that, and it's basically Star Wars. So I understand the nuance of kind of creators trying to do something wholly new, but really, when you do that, you sort of fall on your face, and it's best to pull from what C.S. Lewis sometimes called the Tao in his book, The Abolition of Man. It's sort of the wisdom of the ages. So that got really deep, really fast. So fan art. I get why people do it. I get why people love it. For me, I think I can think of three reasons why I should do fan art. And I haven't done a lot. I have done some, but these are three reasons why I kind of why I could do it. First reason, I'm a genuine fan of certain creative properties. Some well known, a lot not as well known. I just watched Willow, actually, that movie that George Lucas made. That's like fantasy. I feel like he was trying to do to fantasy what he did with kind of sci-fi with Star Wars, but Willow is odd. It's a very odd movie. My dog's name is Willow, but not about that movie. So I've always kind of known of that movie based on my dog's name. But I watched it and I was like, it's so kind of weird that I want to do fan art because I want people to know about it. So there's that aspect, like finding something I truly love. Why not? In a way, in a sense, advertise for something I love that I have not created myself. So there's that reason. Second reason, I'd learned a lot by trying my hand at different well-established character designs. If I'm going to make my own character that's kind of robot-like, wouldn't I benefit by drawing Iron Man? If I'm going to do an action hero, shouldn't I try to draw some very successful designs of action heroes from Star Wars and from the Marvel universe? So that's another, I feel like, very valid reason for me to try my hand at fan art. Third reason, it's probably, and you can let me know what you think about this, but in my opinion, it's probably the fastest way to grow an Instagram following. I don't know. To me, it seems like a very easy win to bring followers by doing fan art. Doing Harry Potter and doing it well, and making an image about Harry Potter. Obviously, you can see where that leads. If you put that out there, Harry Potter fans will see that, and they're going to share that, and there's going to be a natural organic growth from just coming in contact with you by how you envision a well-known property. Lots of people get their start by doing Lord of the Rings. I just name quite a few illustrators that start out by illustrating the Lord of the Rings, and they can put whatever spin they want to visually on a well-known classic that's a classic piece of literature, but it's a classic, it's kind of a movie now. So there's just a much broader audience than there ever was before for that story. So, natural growth happens, and that's if growth is what you're after, that's a good move. Okay. So I do have a fourth point. And the fourth point is, Mike Mignola is doing fan art. Why shouldn't I? Creator of Hellboy, creator of one of my favorite comic characters and stories, is just killing the fan art game, and I mean in a good way. He's drawing Jolly Green Giant. He's drawing cereal characters like the tiger from Frosted Flakes, Tony the tiger. Did a Mr. Peanut that I personally really love. He's doing it. Doesn't that just make me want to do it? Shouldn't that, someone that is a very original creator is doing it and sharing it with the world, and I think actually raising quite a bit of money through auctions for these sketches for people in need. Awesome, right? Like, it's great. That's a fourth reason why I could do fan art. So I want to leave those there. And I can also think of counterpoints. So these are the cons for me to do fan art. And I guess I have 4 now. So I'm gonna do 4 sort of counterpoints to all those points. And these are reasons why I just personally, my personal problems with me doing fan art. I'm not talking about you doing a fan art. I don't have a problem with you doing fan art. But I think this helps add to the conversation. Maybe it creates a conversation, because you can always kind of think of a reason why, but I think it's helpful to think of reasons maybe why not to as well. First point of sort of why not to is choosing one thing means not choosing something else. Any percentage of time I'm going to devote to rehashing a successful creative property is time not spent trying to get my own creative property off the ground. And I'm using the sort of banal kind of business term of creative property. And that just means story that can be translated into a book, a comic, a film, into merchandise, video games. That's creative property, IP, intellectual property. So I want to reiterate that if I'm choosing to draw Iron Man, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, when I choose that, I've got to spend time on it. And if I want it to be effective, I've got to make that image really good, right? That's for me. I don't know. You can speak for yourself. For me, to do something well takes a lot of time. If I take that sort of portion out of the pie that is sort of my time for that day, and then that day equals a sort of, it's its own sort of slice out of your week, and you can see where this is going. That slice out of your week is a slice out of the month and the year and essentially your life. So, choosing to do something with your time equals not as much time to do something else. I'm evaluating, is it worth my time to keep promoting something successful, something that's already got legs, like Star Wars successful? Like, is it worth my time to create Star Wars fan art, to continue to bolster the love that is already there for Star Wars? And the same for Marvel. Is it worth my time to create an image and essentially advertise for a popular, something that's already very popular, right? Is it worth my time? Or would my time be better suited if my goal is to get my own IP off the ground? Where's my time better used? If my goal is that, and my goal is that actually, so where's my time better used? And for me, I usually choose it's better to create my own thing, and try to get that off. Use my time wisely for that. So I think you get it. I won't belabor the point. Second point about learning, personally learning from good character designs by imitating them, by copying them. And I get that. So second point is like, I might learn a lot by reverse engineering good character designs, but why not go ahead and do that as my personal study? Then incorporate what I've learned from learn from that character, from that fan art, essentially. I can draw Iron Man in my sketchbook. I can draw Wonder Woman, Spider-Man. I can draw those characters in my sketchbook and learn what I need to learn from those character designs, whatever I'm going to derive and learn from those. Then incorporate what I've learned into my own characters. So the value still stands that, yeah, drawing well-established character designs that work in a lot of things like movies and comics, and people like them. So think this works essentially to grab people's eyes. So it works. So there's no denial in that. Trying to reverse engineer some character designs do help me become a better character designer. I'm just saying go ahead and continue on that train of thought. Create your own character with something that you've learned from those other characters, and then share that. Don't share those those fan art, basically personal practice. Share the thing that you've synthesized with your own vision and something that's come before. And I think that's really what George Lucas did with Star Wars. That's what Tolkien did, C.S. Lewis, Rowling. These things, wizards were always a thing. Rowling just synthesized a school story with wizards. Quite a few other things, I'm sure, but it's a synthesis with her name on it, right? She's writing the book and her name's on it. There's no other name on that book. Third point, fan art brings fans of, and I'm reading here, so I apologize if this sounds wooden, but this is from my newsletter. Fan art brings fans of popular creative properties into your space, but how long will they stay around for your own characters? Potentially, they'll be fans for life, but I'm not so sure. Obviously, I think that it stands that people will come, Harry Potter fans who are visually interested in visual culture, illustration, doing illustration. They're going to, find out about you because you did the Harry Potter art, and they're going to come there. A lot of people are going to, I don't know, they're just there for more Harry Potter art, more Marvel art, more Star Wars art. And when you start doing your own characters, expect a drop off. I mean, I think that's going to happen. Potentially, you're going to find fans for life. I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. I'm just saying I just don't think it's that cut and dry. So further on though, there's a perception. So like you as a creator, you as an artist sharing stuff, you're building a perception. You're teaching you're teaching people how to think of you, or that's what's happening. Whether or not you're explicitly teaching them, you're training people to expect something from you. So I know a lot of brilliant artists that do fan art, and guess what I think of them. I think of them as brilliant artists who do fan art, not brilliant creators that have given me something new to appreciate and enjoy. It's a mixed signal. It's they may have their own thing and they may mix it in there, right? But I don't think of them. I don't think of them as substantial creators. I think of them as people that are probably doing the social media game, probably trying to bring up a large popular audience from an established franchise. It's not a bad move if you just want numbers, but you know what I'm saying. It's a mixed signal. So. All right, moving on. And it's kind of segueing into the fourth point. Mike Mignola is known for Hellboy. He's spent decades doing his own thing, and no amount of fan art will overshadow what he's given people to enjoy. Okay, so I believe that. There could be a point where Mike just does not ever return to creating his own art, which hasn't happened. I mean, even when he's doing sketches and just being prolific on Instagram, he's done fan art, but he's done it in such a creative way. Mr. Peanut, like Jolly Green Giant, like these things that you would never think of as fan art, ideas. This is the fruitfulness of a creative mind over decades, over a lifetime, and he's still creating very, very original content still. So I think no matter probably fan art that he's going to do is going to overshadow what he's done. His lifetime legacy of writing and drawing comics and his own characters. Me, on the other hand, me, and if you're in this age group and if you're in this area, like think about yourself. I'm 30. I have not done a lot. I've definitely, I haven't spent nearly enough time and effort to bring my own characters and worlds into the public consciousness. So, that's very different from Mike, right? He spent decades, spent a lifetime. He was, I'm pretty sure he was only drawing, Hellboy for quite a long time. I have not done that. I need a crystal clear signal coming across to people who come onto my Instagram page, my social media. I need a crystal clear signal and message saying what I do, what I write, who my characters are, who my world is, or what my world is that I'm creating. And I haven't, in my opinion, I haven't earned the luxury that Mike has, and other famous artists that have provided some original content into the public consciousness. There's no problem. I find them sort of absolved of this kind of like this problem. They've earned kind of a rest to just draw whatever the heck they want. And by that time, spending your whole life doing something, very creative and very your own, you're going to be able to produce fan art that is going to turn people's heads. But if me as a 30 something with not a lot of original content under my belt, if I'm just riffing on Luke Skywalker or Han Solo, like Harry Potter, Bilbo, like I'm gonna get interesting results. I think I'm gonna make an okay image, but I'm a creator. I'm not after numbers as far as followers or people knowing about me. I'm after numbers of people that know about my work, not me as a creator, but about my work. So I'm sort of choosing to push my work in front of me, in front of what I can do. I'm choosing, and you could choose as well if you took these pros and decided they were a little better than the cons. You know, that's sort of my personal choice, and that's sort of why I've always never been able to share a fan art as much, even if I do it for myself. So that's a lot of thoughts. I'm sincerely not trying to be a downer on anyone who does fan art, and I think there's a split here between illustrator and creator. A creator is, in my opinion, creating something that is from him or herself and is synthesized with everything that they love, everything that they have that has come before and preceded them. They're creating something new, and in my opinion, this is like a feast. They're making something, and they're giving me a feast. They're giving me sort of a wealth and a depth there, because they're building new narratives and new content on top of old, and it's mixed in there, and that's kind of, there's more ingredients happening there than just junk food. I think I kind of think of fan art as junk food. You kind of see it, and you know who that character is, and then maybe you can break down the composition or something like that. But again, we're sliding into talking about being an illustrator, and I'm not technically an illustrator. I think I'm a creator. So if creators and illustrators, think about it, evaluate who you are and what you're after. What's your end game there? If you're an illustrator, do the Lord of the Rings in your style and try to make it interesting. That's going to bring you work. Doing that is going to bring you illustration work. Illustration work means you being hired by a publisher or some company who has a story, has a writer. They're going to hire you to do their thing. They're the creator. You're part of the creation, but you're not the creator. In totem, in totality. This is all from the deep kind of banks of my mind. I've written about it on my Patreon, but I would love to hear feedback, and try to wrestle with the differences here. I'm not saying fan art's wrong, but I am saying potentially think about it and how it makes sense for you and what you're trying to share with the world. So thanks for listening, and tune back in for something else. I'm sure I'll think of something next. I have to for next Friday, because I've got this newsletter, and I am committed to being on Patreon more. In a weird way, I kind of treat it like Slack. I know it's not as nimble as Slack, and for group discussion and like chatting, it's actually kind of quite bad. But the more I'm there, the more my patrons are there, and the more that there starts to I feel like be a community, and I'm really excited about my Patreon, the patrons that are there, and the conversations that we're having about storytelling. So please check out my Patreon if this interests you. And thanks again for listening.